Hey everybody, welcome to Houdini Hangout. My name's Peter. I am the host of this stream, and it's nice to have you all with us this evening. This is the first time in several weeks now that I haven't had a guest on the stream, so we're kind of back to the roots a little bit here. Hello everybody in the chat that was talking a little bit beforehand. Maitland, Vutorian. Yeah, it's nice to have you all here. So hope you're having a great November so far. In the neck of the woods that I'm in, we had our first snowfall, which was very exciting. Hello. So we had some snow here, which was very exciting, I guess. Although with the new dog, he's enjoying that a bit, but I think he's seen snow before, but he was definitely enjoying it. So, so things are good here. Hopefully things are good with you as well. Tonight we're going to get up to something interesting. I haven't done any flip that I can think of in a little while. At least maybe I have. I don't know. It's hard to remember, but so I'm going to do some flip this evening. And we had a couple questions in the Discord server about making like the collision, the stick to collision, and kind of how that works. So that was so I kind of was like, well, there's a couple questions about this, so I guess we might as well take a look here. So that's what we're going to take a look at tonight and see what we can get up to. Not exactly sure how effective and great this technique will be, but we'll give it a shot. So it's always kind of the caveat here is that we don't always know exactly what we're going to get up to, but we're going to give it a shot. So that's what's on the plan for this evening. If you're interested in joining the Discord server, there is a link that you can go to, houdinihangout.com. You can go there and get a link to the to the Discord server. There's links to past episodes or whatever you want to call them, past streams. And hey, Crossfader, how's it going, man? Nice to see you, Lucas. So you can get a whole bunch of stuff there, information about streaming times, and I try to keep my calendar fairly up to date with when I'm going to be streaming and stuff like that, so you can always take a look there. So HoudiniHangout.com for that Discord invite as well. And that's a great place you can go get help, chat about stuff with Houdini, and suggest things for the stream. Hey, Cammie, welcome to the stream. Without I guess any further talking by me, I always like to kind of try to let everybody know that if you're interested, if you have any questions or any thoughts about what it is that we're doing here, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'm never going to claim to be the foremost expert on any of this stuff. So I'm always happy to be corrected if you think there's a better way of doing something. If there's something that you think is a better, method or whatever, we can go from there. And it's always, as you've probably seen many times, I get stuck and don't always know what I'm doing. So so it's an open place. Feel free to put your questions, your thoughts. Like if you have the question, probably somebody else does as well. So open place to put your comments and thoughts in the chat about Houdini, at least. Maybe not about the world in general, but Houdini is definitely fair game there. Cool. Maybe before we jump in, Futorian just said, since you're doing flip, could you possibly explain when it makes sense to use the SOP setups versus the DOP setups? I would say that, is anybody the Houdini expert at this point? Well, I just like to make sure that nobody thinks that I'm trying to claim to be some all-knowing person. So just the devs. Yeah, even them. Honestly, like sometimes developers will, I was making some courses on Karma, and someone in the rendering team was like, oh, I learned a few things, probably mostly about how Solaris works, but they learned a few things in watching my video. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't expect that. It's Waffle Boy. I mean, it's funny. Everybody's kind of sometimes gets siloed into their own little world, so they don't always know all of the different bits and pieces. So it's very interesting. There's no one that really knows everything. So it's Waffle Boy. Yeah, Waffle Boy Tom. Yeah, so when should we use SOPs versus DOPs was the question. And I think with that, there definitely is a little bit more overhead with the SOPs setups, for sure, because there's some back and forth and kind of some setup work that happens within those. So it's certainly not as optimized as if you're going with the DOP setup. So if you're going to do a gigantic, like massive flip simulation, that would probably be something you'd want to do over in DOPS and like set it up by hand. If you were doing something that was maybe a little bit more, I don't know, maybe a little bit, I don't want to say small scale because flip isn't always the best candidate for that, but like certainly if it's something a little that you feel is going to be a more manageable simulation, like that's where the SOPs tools can come in. And especially if you're doing stuff with like moving domains or like weird stuff like that you've seen in like that they showed in all those demos where like you can have stuff that's like changing domain shapes and all these different things, like that is really a place where the SOP tools can be really, really helpful because I mean, you could certainly do it in DOPS as well, but it's just set up really straightforward to do that in SOPs. So it's better to do that. Hey, Anshul, welcome. Nice to have you here on the stream. All right. Well, I guess with that being said, I guess we might as well jump over into Houdini and start messing around with some stuff. So let's do that. Dramatic fade. I forgot to change my fade. Alrighty, let's see here. So I guess the one thing I should do too is we should grab this video here that was shared. Yeah, here we go. So this was the video that was shared in the topic suggestion channel. And so we have like, fluid that's dripping off. And there's a few things that I'm going to make note of real quick with this. One thing is that obviously the particle separation is pretty low. So there's a lot of particles in here. We're not going to get up to this smooth of a result. So I don't think that's something that we're even going to come close to. Another thing that I noticed in here is that there's this really sharp line, and it's like right here, right? So it's like there's a really sharp line that is it's like it's like the fluid's almost peeling off at that line. And I think what's happening there is I think there's actually a collider possibly, or some sort of force being applied to it that's like pushing the fluid down at that area, because it's really odd that it just like is hitting like almost a wall here, right? Like it's just very, very consistent, like right there. It's just very, very strange behavior. So I think that's part of what's going on there, and part of how this look is being that part of what's happening here. But yeah, so it's really just like some stickiness here and some adhesion. There's probably some surface tension in there as well to help with like some of the drips and drops and things like that. I mean, there's pretty much no way I'm going to get to this level of not level, but like density of a simulation, just because it's going to take a while to like simulate that. So just be forewarned. We're not going to be sitting here for 30 minutes for me to do one simulation or something. So that's just something to keep in mind. But sorry, I moved my chat over here. Oh, cool. Good. I'm glad I was able to answer your question a little bit there, Futorian. I mean, it's kind of, whatever tools work for you too. I mean, if the SOP based tools are working for you, then you certainly can use those as well. But yeah, anyways, so I'm really distracted tonight because I feel like my camera used to be the other direction. I might be wrong, but like, I don't know what happened here, but it really feels like it's the other direction now, and it's freaking me out. I don't understand it at all. So I don't know. That's how I always feel it's going to be when I peel a sticker off, but then it tears at the bottom corner. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yes, I know what you're saying. Okay. All right. So that's kind of what we're going to be going for here. We're going to give this a shot. But yeah, if anybody knows if my camera used to be flipped the other direction, let me know because I am literally losing my mind. I feel like I'm looking in the weirdest direction right now. So it's just freaking me out. Anyways, enough of that. Let's go in here. Let's set up let's just make a geo here. We'll make a little box and just kind of, this will be our collider. And let's get started here. So, oh, you know what? I don't have my little, hold on a second here. All right, hopefully that worked. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So the dog hit my green screen. My high-tech green curtain. Sorry, let me get myself situated here. Yeah, okay. I thought it did flip. I'm like losing my mind here. And for whatever reason, my software does not make it very simple for me to flip it, which is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, I'm going to lose my mind. Anyways, okay, cool. At least I'm not losing my mind. That's great. Okay, anyways, let's go in here. We're going to make a cube. Let's just do something similar to what they had set up there. So we'll do a box. Yeah, I don't know. We'll just kind of make this, make this a bit smaller here. No. I was thinking that was going to work, but apparently control doesn't work there. So maybe we'll do it like 0.25. Yeah, that seems fine. Yeah, exactly. When I'm looking at the comments, I'm looking away. Exactly. That's not what I wanted. Yeah, so like you can read my shirt, which I think is like my hand is on the other side. So it's like I feel weird. I'm like, what's happening here? It's just very strange. Anyways, I'll figure that out later. But I was like trying to figure that out for like 10, 15 minutes before I started streaming. Anyways, all software apparently is not as easy as Houdini, which seems like a weird thing to say. Okay, so we've got the box here. Sorry, I'm just like looking at that. All right, let's do a transform here. Let's stop worrying about what position I'm in here. We'll just turn this 45 degrees. The bottom left corner. Yeah, I could. Yes, it is correct in how you would see me in real life. Yes, correct. All right, so let's do this. Let's do maybe like, I don't know, negative 0.25, something like that. And then we'll have it come up. So let's do this. And then I don't know, about 72, we'll have it go up to about 1. That looks good. And I'm going to shorten this down here to like 120. Just so we're in a little bit of a more reasonable size relationship there. Yeah, I think that's really all we're going to need. Just a box raising up out of this here. Don't really need to do too much exciting things here. Maybe I'll just poly bevel it a little bit. Not that it really matters, but let's do it a little bit. Let's just bevel this guy. I don't know. Nothing too crazy. Something like that, maybe, and give it a couple. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's fine. Something like that. Then we transform it. I mean, we could always like, hey, Fractaler, how's it going? Okay, so we've got this here, just simple animation. Great. What I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to use the shelf tool to set up the flip flat tank because it's kind of silly to go through something else to do that. So I'm just going to do the flip. Oh, actually, I'm just going to control click the flip tank, drop that down. Then I'll put it right at origin, and then everything's basically set up for us. So let's just say this is sim flip. This is all right. We'll do that. Just color these for organizational sake a little bit. And then these are kind of, we're going to make those red because those would technically be the rendering side of it. But for right now, looks like we're good here. I'm going to turn these off because we probably won't need those. Great. Okay. So we've got our flip tank here, and this is just making things a little easier. It's setting up our DOP network, right? It's just, you know, setting up some of the real basic things that we're going to be using here. So I'm just going to make this a little bit, give ourselves a little more room here. And that looks good. Okay, great. So let's do our collider. As we normally do here, we need a collision source. So this one is going to output our geometry and our a VDB for us. So with this, I usually come over here and add a couple nulls. So I'll just do this and say geo, oops, not like that. And move this here and call this one VDB. Cool. Okay. So yeah, so there we go. Hey, bud. Oh, Lenny, you're joining the stream. Hi, buddy. Hi. You decided to join the stream. Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. All done. All done. Okay. He wants me to come sit on the couch with him. He's not happy that I'm yeah, that's the first pup. That's the first pup incursion. Yeah, that's Lenny. Yeah, he wants me to come sit on the couch, so he's trying to do anything he can. He's like literally trying to grab me by the hand and like, okay, let's go this way. Anyways, it's like all done work. All done with work. Thank you. All right. Anyways, where were we? Okay, so we've got our geo and a VDB here. It's actually kind of interesting when you set this up, like if I was to come up here and let's see here. So if I was going to come up here and just do like a null and do this automatically, we'll just call this like out or something, whatever. This is like, we'll say collision geo, just for example. So like if you were to do this and come up here and do your deforming object like this, right? Like automatically with the setup there, it's going to set it up like this, right? Which you don't actually need this stuff here, which is fine, whatever. You get this geo collider, it names it, it does all this stuff for us, right? Yeah, so this is the path here and everything. But the interesting thing is that in here, whoa, nice and neat. Holy crap. In here, this is what I had made. This is what it made right here. Nope, like that. And here it actually adds this DOP path, which I'm always curious about why it does that. I actually noticed that today. I was like, wait, why is it doing that? Because it's actually linking to this node here. So whatever. It's not really like a huge deal, but just something I noticed and I was like, that's weird. Anyways, I'm just going to do this manually so we can see all of the fun steps, but that's basically what we're going to be setting up. So, all right. So we have our collider here. We have our geo and our VDB. So that's great. I'm going to come in here. We're going to do a static object. We actually don't need that other stuff below it. Couldn't I ask the person who made it? Possibly. I don't know if I can ask. I don't know. I don't know who made all this stuff technically, but yeah, maybe I could ask someone who made it. But I just realized it today at one point and I was like, that's really strange. I don't understand that. Why it does that and then doesn't use that as a, anyways, unless it's just there for like linking so you know where it's pointing to. I don't know. Anyways, okay, so here's a collider. Let's grab the geo from this. There's our SOP path. We can also link to the object. And that would be if we wanted to use the object transform. We'll just do that. I mean, don't need to, but just for kind of completeness sake. And then here we're going to use the volume sample, and I'm going to do it by size. And I'm going to copy this parameter and then come back up here and just paste it into the volume here, paste relative references. And now that way we have those linked together. So as I change like the resolution of this in here, it's going to change in it's going to change in the SOP network that's feeding it, basically. So that's just like a little thing that I like to do. So like here we can do 0.01, and if we turn on the collision guide, let's see here. Use deforming that. Why is that not showing up there? That's weird. Huh. Twitch, I was literally watching Twitch before. I can see Twitch, like it's working here. What is happening? That is so annoying. Sorry about that. I don't know why that's the case. Let's see here. That's so dumb. All right. Hopefully Twitch is working now. That's so annoying. Sorry about that. That is so weird. Like I can see it on the back end of Twitch, so I don't understand why that's the case, but I'm gonna have to look into that. Okay. Well, thank you for the info. I was kind of trying to watch it and see if it was working, but cool. Well, hi Sprawa. Welcome. Whoa, it's working. Yeah, I just turned it off and back on. Oh, hey, cool. Nice. Good. It's working. Great. I don't know why that's the case. Anyways, yeah, let me know if something happens. Anyways, how important is that link there? It's not super important, but I know why it's not working, because I didn't turn the proxy. I didn't link the proxy. There we go. That's what we need. That's important. So another thing I do a lot of times is I hide this, because then you can actually like rotate around these objects instead of the box. Oh, sorry. I'm like trying to read that, and it's like it's your little GIFs there, your little emojis, Sprawa, were turning up as words in my chat, and I'm like, what does that mean? Anyway, sorry. Yeah. So this link here is just going to be so that we have. Here, I guess I can make this a little smaller. Probably won't need that. So we have this resolution kind of linking between them. So if I change this to 0.1, it's going to change, both resolutions. So it's changing the resolution up higher. You don't have to. It's just if you were to change this and try to more finely sample something, but it's from a really bad VDB sample. Yeah, that's why I like to link those. And I think they're linked with the shelf tool as well. Speaking of shelf tools, I'm going to hide that. Don't need that probably anymore. Okay, so we've got our collision in there. We've got this here. Let's see here. I'm going to just up my cache a little bit so that I'm hopefully good here. All right, cool. Let's see here. I'm going to turn this collision guide off. We can redisplay the geometry there, and let's hit play and just make sure we've got everything colliding and looking good here. That happens because we're like, it's seeing that collision within the bounds of the narrowband, and so it's actually extending the narrowband down to kind of fit around that. What I mean by narrowband, if you're not familiar with that, is this box here, right? Like this, it used to be that you had to have this whole box filled with fluid in order for it to work, or else obviously it would collapse down. Now we're just simulating this narrow band up at the top here, but it understands the rest of this volume. And so if something enters that volume, I believe it includes the boundary of that object within the narrow band, so that it actually is seeing that as it's starting to enter the bottom of this volume, right? Because this could be the ocean, right? And we're not going to simulate down to the floor. We're just going to give it some sort of a lower bound. But if we were to take this up a little higher and go back like this, obviously you would see that it's not going to go down quite as, obviously it's not going to go down as far, because that's where the boundary actually happens there. But we don't really have to do that. I mean, we could reduce this, I guess, a little bit if we wanted to, whatever like that. Yeah, so just something to keep in mind there. Cool. So let's see, what did Crossfader say? I usually multiply the voxel input by 0.05 or less to get more resolution coming in. Yes. Yep. So you're saying you like to take this one here, this, and do it by like 0.05 or something, like 0.5. And now this is going to be that. It's going to be 0.005. So it's going to be a higher VDB resolution coming in here, which does make sense. And then you're getting maybe even a better collision geometry there. Yeah, that's common. You can do that as well. Multiplying it by 0.5 or dividing it by 2 would give you the same thing. Just the little mathy stuff there. Let's see here. Oh, it actually didn't like me resizing that bounding box. Huh. Interesting. Maybe I'll just leave that as it was. Oh, I see. This is actually linked to the other one, so that's why probably. It's to the initial, the flip tank initial. So it's probably here. Yeah. There we go. We'll just leave it as initial. That's fine. All right. Cool. So let's take this. So the idea is we want this to be, having this stickiness to it. So let's first adjust this a little bit, maybe down to like 0.4, just to get a little bit more resolution out of it here. And we'll let that come up through here. We'll let this simulate. Let's do 0.5. We don't need to take quite that long to simulate it. Okay, cool. So that's all working. Let's flip is the ultimate game of patience. Yeah, it definitely is. It's funny because this is like one of the first things I ever learned how to do in Houdini, or like first thing I ever tried to do, which is stupid. You shouldn't do that. Actually, you know what? I should just do this because we don't really need all of that area. So let's do that. And we could probably actually do this as well. So yeah, that's fine. That'll speed things up a little bit here. And then we could probably even reduce this down just a little bit more. Great. So I don't think there's anything we need to add here. We could maybe play around with some viscosity and things like that in a little bit, but we're not going to do that right now. Cool. All right. So the sort of important thing that's happening here is we got to turn this collision stick on collision. And so this is going to actually be what causes us to be able to have that sort of like, I don't even know what the, like adhesion kind of a simulation. It's not that, obviously. Like that's a much more technical type thing that's happening. But here you're going to see that fluid is actually going to stick to this quite a bit longer. And maybe we should just do a couple little flip books here because this isn't taking that long. So let's do this. Let's actually turn this off just to get kind of like a baseline of what's actually going on here. I'm going to hide that, and let's just let me throw a camera in here actually so that we have one, just so I can see where it is that we're going to be looking here. That's good. Cool. All right. So let's flip book this. Cool. All right, we'll let that go. Okay, so this you're going to see it just basically kind of just pushes it out of the way there. There's nothing very exciting happening there. Yep, just pretty much pushes the fluid out of the way. Yeah, so actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this grid off because that's just a little distracting. So let's just flip book that again. Shouldn't take too long to flip book, and then we can just not have that grid in there. Great. Okay, so that's the look here that we've got, and it's not really sticking at all. So that's great. Let's take a look at what we can do here. So we got stick on collision. We'll turn that on. These are the defaults. We'll probably play around with this a little bit. Yeah, let's take a look at this. All right, so let's just flipbook this at defaults and see what starts happening here as we go. So what should happen is that we're going to have this, it's going to see these voxels basically that are that are where the collision is happening, right? Because we have a collision field in here. And with that, it's going to kind of know, hey, we want to match the velocity of our collisions to the velocity of our fluid, right? And so we want these particles to basically move along with that. So that will be an important thing for us here. So, oh, right, I'm flip booking. I'm like, why is that not listening? It's because I'm flip booking. All right, so there you can see we've got some stickiness going on here. And I believe if we were to take this and compare images, we should see that this is sticking quite a bit more to the surface, right? So we're getting quite a bit more stickiness. It's kind of adhering itself when in this case it just kind of slides right off. So this is creating sort of that frictional thing, kind of frictional, but also a little bit of an adhesion, right? Where it's kind of keeping it stuck to the surface, right? So we're starting to get that done. So there's a few things here that we can do, right? We could obviously turn the stick scale up, right? So let's do that a little bit. Let's do it to like half, right? So basically what this scale is saying is how much we're basically blending between the fluid's velocity and the collision object's velocity, right? So let's just say we're going to blend it to half, right? We might actually eventually go higher than that, but for right now, let's do that and just kind of see what starts to happen here. So let me grab another image sequence here and let's go. So what we should see is that the fluid is going to be sticking, is going to adhere itself to this object a bit more as it comes out. There's some more things that we can probably play around with to get this looking even a little bit better. But yeah, so now we've got quite a bit more stickiness happening here, although there is this sort of strange behavior going on here, where we've got this, almost looks like we've got like a box around this. So we want to take a look at that and see if we can't fix that a little bit. But we're starting to get something going here. So we're starting to get this fluid kind of working. So the other thing that we might want to do here is change the distance, right? So I believe what we could do is we could say one of these two options here. Yeah, that's another great point, Lucas. Lucas just said, what about swirly versus splashy? Yep. So this probably would be a place where the APIC swirly might be better. Let's take a look at it and see what that gives us, right? Might as well give it a shot before we go too much further. I'll just make sure all the settings are the same. And let's go like this. So yeah, the APIC is going to be, I believe, better for like viscous fluids and things like that. So yeah, let's see kind of how this works, and we'll kind of go from there. I don't know if there's going to be a huge difference at this point, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. We're getting this really strange like hanging behavior there. I wasn't getting that before. Let me just make sure that I'm not forgetting something in my collision geometry. Because I could be. Let's go back to this collider here. Take a look at this. Oh yeah, let's do this. Let's give ourselves some more bandwidth here, just to make sure that we've got plenty of space. So let's maybe say like 8 or something, 8 band voxels outside. Yeah, it does kind of look like it's taking the bounds, but it's strange. It's a very strange one to me, the way that that's doing that. The other thing I was playing with before was the scatter points. Now, the what this does, or at least what the explanation for it is, that it's going to scatter points onto the surface, and what that should allow for us to do is, here, let's just pull up the help card for it because it's kind of hard for me to explain it maybe, but the description is pretty good. Let's see here. Where was it? Points. There we go. So, so yeah, basically what it's saying is that it reads from the nearest point to a collision. So if it's like a big, large primitive like this, it might not be sampling the velocity properly. So let's do that and see if that works any better. So now we've basically just got a bunch of points scattered on this object. Oh, right. I'm like, why is that going slow? It's because, oh, why is that going slow? Oh, it's because we're calculating this VDB quite densely. So let's change that. Probably don't need that to be quite so crazy. So let's do this. Let's come over here and let's say we'll do this. Cool. All right, so let's try that and see if that's any better for us. See if that gives us anything better here. I'm not going to flipbook this. I just want to see if that's a nicer simulation. Oh yeah, that's right. It's a little weird to see it with these particles on it. So what I'm going to do is actually just do that. There we go. Yes. Okay. So I think that partially has helped us. So a couple of things. I think that it was I don't know if it was the scatter points or not. Let's turn that off just to see if it was or wasn't. I don't know if it was that. I was kind of playing with that just because I saw it and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Let me see what that. I literally played with this for like 10 minutes earlier. Yeah, it's definitely not the scatter points. So what I think it is in this case, what the issue was those band voxels. Because if we set those back, here, in the volume and change these back to 4 and simulate this again, it should just go right back to kind of how it was. So let's take a look at that just one more time. Yep. Yeah, so that's doing the same like weird little collision thing. Now also the resolution is different, so that's going to change how many band voxels there are. So, okay, so let's talk about what band voxels are, bandwidth is. So what this means is, trying to think of how I can easily explain this. So when you have a VDB, right, we have, let's see, can I show this? Okay, it's kind of like this here, right? So with this object, right, it has this boundary, right? This is the boundary of the VDB. But when you talk about the actual like active voxels, that is what's going on here. Oh yeah, that's right. I've got the VDB visualize tree. Can use that. So these are the actual active voxels around the object. So if we do this and this, that should kind of show what's going on here. So we have our active, or sorry, those are our leaf nodes, and these are the active voxels, right? So I'm pretty sure this leaf nodes here are the band voxels. So let me just change that and just make sure I'm seeing that correctly. No. Okay, so yeah, so really what it is when we're building this SDF, we don't even really need yeah, we don't even need to see those blue ones. So let me just turn that off. We don't need these here or those there. So in this case, we have this bandwidth, right, that's kind of going past the surface. You can see the surface is here. We've got all of these points that are just representing the voxels. That's the distance there that we're setting up. So as we change this bandwidth, that's the number of voxels away from the surface that we're counting. So if we change this to 20, we're going to get 20 voxels. So that doubles the bandwidth there. And this directly relates to the voxel size as well, because obviously this bandwidth is in voxels. So if you have 20 voxels that are all smaller, that's a smaller bandwidth. So sometimes you'll see this. You can also check this for use world space, right? So so that might even be a better thing for us in this case, just to kind of give ourselves a more consistent thing to work with here, because we want. We don't really need to worry too much about the interior band because we could just have it fill interior, I guess. It doesn't really matter. But maybe what we should do is actually link this exterior band voxel to the distance that we have for that that stickiness. Because right now, that stickiness that we're dealing with there has a max distance of 0.05, right? And this is world space. You can also do it in max cells, which would be the maximum number of voxels away that we can go. So, so you could kind of do it in either one of those. It's in distance right now, which is fine. This is basically how far from the surface that stick to collision is actually going to start to be applied. And it's going to fade off the further away you go. So I think what we were doing there was we were actually overrunning the distance that we had, I think, in the bandwidth. And so we basically just were trying to read where there was no data, and it was just like, sorry, there's nothing here. And so it's just kind of sticking, right? So I think that's what we were seeing. So let's do this. Let's take this to 0.1, and let's actually copy this parameter, and we're going to go back up here and let's do paste relative references, and let's multiply this by 2. And that'll make sure that hopefully we've got enough bandwidth, right, to deal with. If we look at this, we can now see that our bounds are quite a bit bigger, right? But really that's because we're just expanding the edges around this, right? We're not actually sampling all of the volumetric data in here. That's the nice thing about VDBs. So we're actually we don't have values in here. These are just empty cells. Okay, so that's good. Let's try that. Let's see how that works. And take a look from there. Hopefully that answered your question, Lucas. Hopefully that answers it. All right, let's see what happens here. Hopefully we don't get any weird like sticking or anything like that. Go back to our camera. Yeah, it's essentially the distance from when it's an SDF. It's the distance for a VDB, like an SDF and a VDB, that's going where the distance is calculated up to. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I think that's looking like it's working a little bit better actually. Yeah, I like what's going on there. That feels right. Let's actually just kick this up a little bit. Let's say 1.5 there. I think in my other example that I was doing this with, I was using a smaller box just randomly. I don't know why. And so that was probably why the numbers were different. I'm like, that's weird. I don't remember doing that last time. But I think that's the issue. Yeah, so now we're starting to get this. this kind of drippy effect happening here. Let's turn this up maybe even a little bit more. Let's say 2.5, something like that, and just see what starts to happen here. Because it is a little sparse right now, so it's hard to exactly see what's going on with all of the particles and stuff like that. Oh, hey, Kay. I know this is a stretch, but is there any way I could do a hangout focusing on RBD car fracturing in the near future? Really like to see my take on it. Honestly, if I was going to do the RBD car fracturing, I probably would use the tools in the RBD like car fracturing tools that exist in Houdini. So it probably wouldn't be that different than anything that else that would be out there. I mean, that is a big process if I was to try to do it from scratch, and with so many other people doing it, like, I don't think I could do that justice compared to if you were looking for something other than the like the stuff that's now built into Houdini. Yeah. But that is very it's very interesting to ask. I do appreciate that. Yeah, I don't think I would have anything really to add too much to it, but let's see here. I just want to kind of get a look at this from maybe some other angles here, just to see how this is dripping off. Yeah. Okay. So another thing that you can also do with some of these simulations is go in. We'll keep playing with this a little bit, but let's go into our. Oh, okay. That's what you meant. Time for some sheeting. Yeah, that's going to be the hardest part. I don't know if we'll get any of that, but we'll see. Okay, yeah, maybe that would be something we could do, is use the tools from that. I was actually in a workshop at Equinox where they were talking about it, and it was pretty cool to like see how it works. It is fairly involved. I mean, it's not just, plug it in and it goes, but I mean, it's way less involved than the previous way it was all set up. So yeah, certainly we could give it a shot. I'm actually going to change this back to the splashy one, just because I'm curious if this looks any different now that we're kind of upping the resolution a little bit. So yeah, kind of the funny thing is once you turn the flip solver to APIC, you're technically not using flip anymore, which is kind of weird, but yeah, it's just a different algorithm, right, to solve the thing. Yeah, I think this is looking better, honestly. I think this is working a little bit nicer. The other thing that it might be is that it might be too far away. Let's see. Let me turn this back on and see if I can find 10th. So that's a meter. That's 0.2. That's 0.1. Yeah, it's actually kind of far. Should probably stick that back a little bit there. Okay, so the other thing I was going to update here is swirly feels more real to you. Interesting. Well, we can play with both of them and see which one we like here. Let's see here. Just making sure. Okay. So let's try to oversample a little bit at the surface, right? just to give ourselves a little bit more resolution at the surface. So let's just kick this up a little bit. Let's say we do like 2.5, or maybe that's really a lot. Maybe we'll do 2 at the surface. And this is 1, so let's maybe do like, I don't know, we'll just say 1.5 oversample width, like basically how far the bandwidth is. So let's see what happens there. So we should now be oversampling at the boundary of the fluid, at the surface of the fluid, I believe. So that's what we should be getting. I think I'm actually going to go even further than that. Let's just really crank this up. See if we can't get some nice detail here in the boundaries. Sorry, I'm also going to change that. And so I'm oversample like that. I just really want to see if this is actually doing what I'm thinking it's doing. It should be. I just feel like it's not. Yeah, I'm seeing it more here. I just want to see it when it comes up a little bit more. So the surface of the fluid would be, you can visualize the surface with the flip object. So you can come in here and say, what's the surface, right? So that's going to be your surface, right? This is just a rough SDF like boundary, right? So like this is basically saying like where the surface is. This is the surface field basically. So at that surface field, it's going to be oversampling. So yeah, so does look like it's working. So that's cool. Looks like we're getting more particles in there. But really what we should probably do is a mix of that and this. So let's just kind of go. Oh yeah, you can actually see it up there, can't you? Okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Let's just delete this and see it. Let's just see. What if we bump this like way up? What do we get there? Okay. Just curious about this. How this is going to change it. Yeah, let's see. Well, it definitely slows it down. Oh man. Yeah, flip can be painful sometimes. Well, it depends on how big of a computer you have. That's when sometimes you have a great computer that you're working on. Yeah, let's flip book this. I'm just kind of curious what this is going to look like. We're at quite a bit more resolution now than the last one. Let's just see what happens here. Well, the crazy thing about Avatar was that's not even flip. That was technically more in the realm of like NPM. Right? Like that was a that was like a multi-solver type like thing. It's like almost more in that world where it's like, yeah, it was like, I think really, really slow. But yeah, when you've got all the time in the world, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. Okay. So there is, what budget? Yeah, I know. Seriously, right? What kind of budget did they have? It's crazy. Well, I mean, I'm sure you could probably look that up online and find it, but geez, yeah, just crazy budget. All right, so that's kind of interesting. I mean, it's interesting. It's sort of working. Let's like Lucas was saying, let's give the old APIC its day. Gosh, what does APIC stand for? I can't remember. It's like affine particle in cell, I think. I'll let this go while I really think that's what it is. I think it's, yeah, it's affine particle in cell. That's what it stands for. Oh, that was done by Disney. Cool. Did not realize that. Let's see here. What do we have? Yeah, this is APIC. This one here. This is flip. This is APIC. Flip is like stringier almost. When you have unlimited budget, you go to side effects. Actually, they made their own fluid simulator for that. They did use, I think they did use Houdini for where they did a lot of their simulation, but I'm pretty sure they built their whole thing called Loki, which is like they called it like a state machine, and it's like, yeah. But yeah, that's cool. That's a cool one. All right, so that's sort of working there. Although it's like very, yeah, it's like very even. Let me look at it from, oh, right. I actually ran out of simulation here. Okay, so I think partially we might not want to be oversampling that much because I think that upping the resolution of this would actually probably help us even more. So let's do that, because that's going to up the resolution of like everything, not just the number of particles. So yes, surface tension. Good call. Good call. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. I did want to play with some surface tension as well. Yes, before we get to that, let's come back here and do some surface tension things. Yeah, let's turn that on. Oh, I don't know. Turn it up a little, I guess. I don't know. We'll see where this puts us. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you for keeping me honest with surface tension there. Yes, I did because I was drinking from my water bottle. I said, ooh, it's like a hole. Because I wasn't using chroma key before, and now I am. Yeah, there we go. That's looking nice. Clicking on frame 24. Yes, that's a great point. Yeah, having to update the viewport every frame is definitely not as fast. However, we are doing a stream here, so just pressing on frame 24 and just waiting would be a pretty boring stream. So, oh, excuse me. Sometimes I forget. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm online. Let me just burp into the microphone. My apologies. Yeah, so we're starting to get some stuff going here. We're obviously going at insane speed, so let's turn that down. I actually think the surface tension is too high, and so we're getting some weird like little bobbles and things like that. So let's turn this down a little bit. Let's say 15. And actually, I feel like turning on the blur might help. Because that's going to smooth it out, the surface tension. Let's leave it for right now. Oh, good. Nobody heard it. Thanks. Good. Somebody on headphones probably hears it great. But yeah, the question, F. Kira said, clicking on frame 24, like doing this, right? Like going like this. Is technically going to be faster because it's going to like simulate it and then it's going to update, right? Because it's not doing all the viewport stuff. But like I was saying, like if I wanted to go to like here 48, it's gonna be like I thought that was me. I'm gaslighting you through a stream. That's pretty interesting. Well, I guess people did hear it. Fractaler. Jeez. Liar. You're lying to me, man. Yeah. So anyways, we are going to cue the elevator music. All right. So let's just did I hit that? Yeah, I did. DT 770. I don't even know what those are. DT. Oh, nice. Oh, wow. Jeez. Holy heck. You got Bayer Dynamics. Nice. Well, jeez. All right. So let's see how that looks now. Let's just play that back and see where we're at here. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. We're getting maybe a little bit of like weird, like little, like. Yeah, those I've never had them before, but those are supposed to be really, really nice. Cool. Okay. So now we're getting some nice little motion here. I think I am going to try to enable the surface blur. I'm not sure if that's surface tension blur. I'm not sure if that's really going to do a whole lot, but we'll give it a shot. What's it going to hurt? Let's turn that on. The blur radius, is this in... That's a not very helpful help card. Let me just see here. See if it says anything better in here. Where are we in? Surface tension. Viscosity. Oh, yeah. Should I go yell at somebody tomorrow? Be like, hey, can somebody say what the blur radius is in? It's just... Okay. Well, that's all right. Yeah, so Fractaler, you were asking if there is a random stickiness on each point. Yeah, so you can do that with a field, right? So with like a volume. So I think what it said in there too is that if you need some more sub steps possibly. So that could be part of it too. You might want to up the sub steps, and that'll get a better thing. But I'm not going to start playing with that right now because, yeah. But yes, you can. It reminds me of Unreal Engine's documentation. Yeah, so particle separation is going to... Yeah, so we were playing around with the reseeding a little bit. The particle separation is going to push everything apart. Yeah, that might help. I'm not a flip person. What are you saying about particle separation, Lucas? What are you thinking there? I'm curious about that. Fractaler. Oh yeah. Yes, Unreal 5.7 did come out today. The preview has been out for a while, but yes, the full version came out. Wait a second. What just happened there? What did I turn off? I didn't turn anything off. What just happened? Why does it look so different? I turned on the surface tension blur. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe it was blurring in 1 meter. Yeah, reseeding would help for just compacted particles. Reseeding usually helps for like when you have like really like it tries to keep the amount of particles in each like kind of voxel like equivalent, right? Or keeps it to like a certain rate that you're telling it to. So yeah, it's basically just trying to keep things there we go. That looks right. Thinking particles per voxel and reseeding. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because particle separation, I don't know if that would really like, because that's where when you do this, like if you do this and you'll see that it's gonna like push the particles kind of apart and make them like way more like uniform, which you can do. I never really understand why this I don't really understand where this comes in. Again, I'm not doing flips all the time for obvious reasons, but yeah, let's turn it on. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, so you're going to see that these are like quite a bit more like uniformly spread because it's like pushing them apart like artificially. Although watch, this will just look way a million times better. So funny if this just looked like, oh wow, that's perfect. Freezing my camera. Yep, I see that. That's so fun. Sorry, give me a second here. That's so weird. I do not understand why that just happened. I actually thought that that was because of my I was using NVIDIA Broadcast before, and I kind of assumed it was because of that. So that's fascinating. All right, I just want to see what this looks like, just out of curiosity here. Flipbook this thing. It's definitely really weird looking. What was that? Let's see. You're beautiful, bro. What is that? Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, Ansel Joshi. Yeah, it depends on your scene, what scale these things are going to be. Yeah, so this, Lucas, you were saying it covered it a little better, but it does feel like weirdly like, I don't know, like it's just very oddly like thick now. It's very strange. So yeah, I would say it's probably not the best strategy, but yeah, you could lower the separation scale a little bit if you wanted to. I don't know, something to think about. So let's see here. I'm just curious about this. This one, I saw this before and I was like, I wonder if that would help at all. Let's give it a try. But yeah, so the scale of your simulation is definitely like it all depends on your particle separate, your point separation, things like that. It all really is very, very dependent on scales and what it is exactly you're doing. Okay, let's try this. Let's see what happens here. Just curious if this friction or bounce will do anything interesting. I don't know if it will or not, but I saw it in there when I was clicking around just a second ago. I was like, might as well try it. Let's see. Let me compare it to something else here. Not this one, probably this one here. I think that's the last one. That was like kind of what we wanted here. So let's just visualize those two and see if we see any difference here. And I don't really see any difference. A little bit. Hey, Lisa. Lisa Sari. Maybe Lisa. Hi. Welcome. Nice to have you here. Let's turn this off and let me see if I can just compare these like A, B. Let's see here. Yeah, welcome. Okay. I mean, nothing too crazy, but hey, there we go. We're getting something. Yeah, so what we could do, I think if we upped this here, the stick scale, I think if we upped this, we should get even more like stickiness on it. Let's see how much this does. Oh, whoops. I didn't hit the little thing up here. That's what I didn't do. Oh, Zach, you've never used the sequence list? Come on, man. You got to know everything about Houdini. These are important things. I wish it was easier to use, but it's a thing. It's not great, but it works. Yeah, there you go. It's a thing. Yay, people learn things tonight. Oh, my stupid camera. I'm so annoyed by that. I wonder if there's a way I can kick that back in, because it just feels so weird to like not be, I don't know, just the voice of God from above. It's not great, but it works. I'm sold. Oh, that's it. Oh, hey. I'm forgetting I'm doing this on stream. Oh, man. Well, that worked. I don't know if that's going to kick the webcam back on, but it did work. Hey, I've got it working again. Cool. All right, let's do this and bring this back over. There we go. Look at that. I'm back, everybody. All right. So what did that get us? What did we get here from this? What were we doing? Oh yeah, more stickiness. Yes. So you can see how obviously how much more sticky it is now, right? Like it's really, really sticking. Thanks, Fractaler. And I think we could make this. I think we could make this work. So we've got this control field here called stick. Let's think about how we do this here. Oh, do I ship it? No notes. Yeah, no, it's great. Just like sticky. Yeah, no, Lisa, I don't mind sharing my computer. I have a Ryzen Threadripper 3970 for CPU. I have a 3090 NVIDIA GPU, and I've got 128 gigs of RAM, so that helps with like doing these large simulations like this. But yes, so Fractaler, you said, wouldn't the field be a fixed zone that alters the stickiness, or maybe it could be animated? Yeah, you would animate it. And so we would animate that to that what do you call it, to the colliding geometry, basically. Let me just pull this up here again, because I'm curious. Hello, there we go. I'm curious if it says anything more about that, but probably just says it's a field that controls things. Let's see here. This is a smarter way of doing this. Where are we at? Volume motion, collisions. Oh, that's interesting. Keeping a high normal scale and decreasing the tangent scale can create a stiction effect. Huh. Let's see what that does. Let's do quarter tangent scale. So this basically is saying that the normal scale, like normal from the surface, is going to be strong, but tangentially it won't be strong, so it will allow it to slip. Oh, that's interesting. That makes sense. Let's try this. Let's see what it does. Make another guy here and go. So it already adds, maybe, yeah, what did it say? It's spatially varying. It should match the control field, the collision field in resolution. Okay. To think about that. Oh. That's weird. Doesn't even stick to it anymore. Huh. Guess that makes sense because it's coming underneath it. Huh. Well, that's too bad. I was thinking that could be something interesting. Oh, maybe it's because I did the stick field. That's probably why. Because we don't have a field that does that right now. Yeah, I mean, the manual, like, so I was reading through a bunch of comments from a survey that we had done for teachers, basically. And they were kind of talking about how hard it is to make the manual, to like work in the manual, like to use the documentation. And so there's actually like some really cool stuff in the documentation. So like coming to the documentation this way is one thing. Coming to the documentation, not just through the question mark, but like, hello? Oh, it's probably because I'm simulating. It's probably not happy. That's interesting. It's definitely not the same, but it's something. Let's see here. Let's go back. Let's just replace the one that was nothing with this, just to see what it looks like. Huh. Well, that's kind of interesting. Just kind of slides off of it, but in a weird way. Hey, Peter. Welcome. Other Peter. Second Peter on the stream. Anyways, sorry. We were just playing around with that there, but cool. So, right. So the control field with stick, that one is the thing that I'm trying to think about how we're going to do this, right? Because we need to add another field in. I think what we could do, let's go to our collider here and let's play with something. What if let's see, what if we do scatter, does that recalculate every time? I can't never remember. Oh, no, we're simulating. And we're simulating because I have, there we go. Hello? Stop simulating, please. There we go. Thank you. Okay. So what if we do this? Let's do... B3 Doyle was just saying, couldn't you use a PC open on a GeoVop to find points around the collision object and then a switch node to switch the base velocity to 0 for the points found? Rather than doing like the stick near collision thing, is that what you're saying? Because I mean, yeah, you could, I guess, technically do something like that. I mean, I would probably just use like a find points and all that, but then you're just kind of making, I mean, under the hood, that very well might more or less be what's happening, some sort of situation like that. Yeah, I mean, if you needed to create your own solver that did very, very specific things, then certainly I would maybe think about doing your own. But I think in a case like, you know, if you're just kind of generally trying to get something like this to work and you don't have like a super, super specific plan that you need it to like do X, Y, and Z, I don't know. I think you're gonna have a lot of extra work, because don't forget that there's a lot going on within a flip simulation, right? And it's not just the... Actually, sorry, let me just think about that. Is that actually happening on the particle side? That's happening on the volume side. So, Yeah, I think because right, and with every flip simulation, you're solving both particles and volumes. Like you're passing data back and forth between particles and volumes. I think you would. I don't know. I mean, certainly you can code your own things in Houdini, and there's no stopping you. I just don't know if you would get anything better out of it. Like it's a longer process, and I think it would be, more difficult just for the sake of being more difficult. Maybe I can't think of a reason why that would be any better. But if you find something like that and you code it and you're like, oh, this works way better, like I'd love to see that. That'd be cool. You could always drop it on the Discord. That'd be cool. Hey, look at that. I made a transition into hitting my little link there. But certainly it's an interesting idea. I just don't know that you would get really anything better out of it than what's already happening. But I'm happy to be proven wrong. So if you are feeling that, then yeah, go for it. But I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know if you'd get a whole lot more out of it. Like I said, if you needed something really specific, then yeah, maybe that would be the better way of going about it. But all right, I'm just going to put a bunch of points here, and why don't we, let's just try something really, really simple. Let's do a attribute float here. And we'll just call this, what was it called? Sorry, I forgot the thing. Stick. Duh, that's a good one. Stick. All right, we'll call this stick just to keep things convenient here. Let's do a line. Let's turn this on. And let's... Right. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about how this will make the most sense. But oh no, this should be fine. Okay. Let's just go back here. Let's grab that. Let's snap. Just hello? Is this not snapping to points? What's happening? What's happening here? It's very strange. I don't know why that's not snapping to points. Anyways. That's annoying. Now I have to do this visually. Pain in the butt. Okay. Jeez. There we go. Stick. Great. So let's just do this and do that. There we go. No stick, lots of stick. All right, let's then just do an, let's just make sure that this isn't, yeah, it should stay basically. Yeah, great. Let's do, let's do this volume rasterize attributes, easy enough. And let's do stick. There we go. There's our volume. It's going to move as we move there. Great. I guess we'll just copy that over. Although this is half. Okay. That is going crazy slow. That stinks. Oh, right. Because the particle scale is gigantic. I'm like, why is that so slow? I can output this P scale. There we go. And now it should be much better. Cool. Nice. Cool. Let's just do this, like, give it a little more scale. Make sure that it's within there. Let's see. As I can... Let's see. Lisa just asked an interesting question, and now I'm going to think about what my answer to this is. As she said, as you continue to work and teach and demonstrate Houdini, what do you still find challenging when working or planning to work with it? God, I still find a lot challenging. I mean, honestly, every time I'm about to do one of these, I'm always like, oh my God, I know nothing about this software, and I don't know. I always just feel like I'm like, what am I going to talk about? I have no idea. So I still feel I find a lot challenging. But yeah, I mean, I think once you start to like get the hang of like working in Houdini, it's more about just like problem solving, really. And I think that's the thing that's fun to me, is like I can solve problems and like play around with stuff and like do my best to like, figure things out, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it's tricky. A lot of things are still very, very difficult. So I think this is what we're going to want to use something to source this in here, I think. Because here we're doing source flip. So if we're doing flip, right, we're sourcing particles in here. We don't want to do that. Let's see here. So we want to do, let's see. Let's grab the SOP path here. Stick volume. I think this needs to match collision. Futurian. Some days Houdini gives these gorgeous victories, and some days I feel like I can't even 3D good. Yep, totally agree. Yeah, so Lisa, you're just saying Houdini keeps growing, offers so much variety to wanting to use it. Yeah, I understand what you mean. I'd like to rig in it and do simulations. Yeah, the new rigging tools are really cool. Certainly something I'd like to feature a little bit more on here. I just need to learn more about them so that I'm not adding to any confusion that's out there. But yeah, certainly very interesting. Let's see here. Is this gonna work? Create missing fields, target field. Oh. Okay. Let's try copy. All right, let's see what happens here. Let's see if we get anything happening. I don't know. All right, let's go back up here, and I'm just going to turn this. Oh, actually, I turned those particles off, didn't I? So it doesn't really matter. I can go in here, and I can turn this back on. There we go. Let's see. Let's see if we get, I don't know. I don't know if this will work or not. We'll give it a shot. You never know. Yeah. Lisa's just saying she used to feel that way with Maya and Cinema 4D. Now to a new challenge, Houdini. Yeah, it's yeah. I used to use Cinema 4D as well, and that was certainly it was a big learning curve with any piece of software that you're learning. But yeah, it's interesting. Okay, this does not look like it's doing what I was hoping it would do. Okay, so let's investigate a couple things here. So we have our flip tank, and in here we need to look and see. Sorry, this is going to be behind my head. If we have, okay, we do have a stick field, so that's good. And is that happening because I did this? Let's see. I can literally go one frame in here and let it. Okay. So we're getting somewhere here. So this is actually adding our stick field here, it looks like. Okay, so that's good. So that's working. Yeah, it's way weird. It's like, so I think the only reason that I even like have ever looked at it is because a lot of the SOP tools didn't exist when I first started using Houdini. So you kind of had to like a little bit use it. And like, so if I wanted to look at the particle information in here, these are all the different like data that's connected to this flip tank object, right? So like flip tank, this is your object. And then there's a bunch of data that gets attached to it basically. And so like forces and geometry and all this stuff here, right? Like the solver information and stuff like that. But then if you go to geometry and click on that, that actually brings up the geometry spreadsheet basically within it. So so you can find like these are the points for the flip simulation. And then if you look down here, you can see other things like here's the surface volume. So if you're like, here's your resolution of it and total voxels and things like that. So you can always look in here and see some of this stuff. I mean, it's not like you can't like go in and like actually do anything with it per se, but it's like, I mean, you can definitely look at stuff in here and see how it works. It's just, yeah, it's not the most straightforward thing. And then there's this effector, like basically means if they're affecting each other or not, relationships and things like that have been added. Multi-solver relationship there, it looks like, with a bunch of things. So yeah, very complicated. It's way more complicated than doing, is there any way to visualize some of that information? Yeah, some of it. So like, that's kind of what this flip object here is for. So like if I wanted to see, like visualize anything, like say I wanted to visualize my velocity, right? I can do it right there, right? And I can turn it on, and then there's a velocity tab here, and I can change the plane of it. So I could do it like that and see what my velocity values are doing, right? So then I can look at those and kind of play around with them, see what's happening. And then that was what I was doing before with this collision. If you go in here and if I turn off this object, that's the actual, that's the collision field being visualized there. You can visualize things like pressure and source density. So that's going to be, I think, pretty standard across the board. And if we had viscosity, you could see it there as well. Yeah, and that's really what you're visualizing is a lot of those things in there. I think there is a way. I think there is a way to visualize that. but it's not. Oh, hello. Let me just type random things. Yeah, like scalar field visualization. Can I do that? I don't know. I'm literally just poking at things here. Not even sure if this is going to do anything. Nope. Yeah, so there's definitely ways of doing it. I just am not that smart. Oh, cool. Well, thanks for joining, Lisa. That's very nice of you to say. Thank you. Okay, so let's see if we can get this stick thing to work. It's really annoying me. Okay. Hello? That's good. I like that. Create missing fields. Stick. 61. All right, let's try that. All right, let's see if this does anything. No, it's fine. No, I always like a little derailing from time to time. Helps my brain get back in gear. Let's see if this works. I'm not feeling confident, but we'll see. I make it look so simple. Oh, man. That doesn't look like that's working. That one I'm going to have to think about a little bit more. I'm not sure. Target field, source volume is stick. Did I name that wrong? Let me just see. Futorian. In that case, could you use something like Mop's noise fall off to control the stick field before you use the volume rasterize attributes? Oh yeah. You definitely could. Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could use Mops for this. Do I even have it installed right now? I don't. So, yeah, you could definitely use that. Yeah, 100% you could do that. Yeah, I'm probably just doing something really dumb there with this. The other thing, maybe there's a scalar field here that you could add in, and that would get added in here. And maybe this is how you would do it. Although, what the heck? Where am I missing this somewhere? Oh, Lisa, sorry, you're saying you have a Mac. No, I a lot of people have said that they like the Macs. I've never used one of the newer Macs like that before. But it probably would be great. There's some things that are a little bit, like there's some things that can be a little less supported on Macs just because there's such like unique hardware geometry, like hardware, architecture. And so there's some things like Karma XPU doesn't work on there. And there's some weird stuff with like the Vulkan viewport because Vulkan isn't technically supported in Mac, but they're working on making that better and better each release. So there's some of those things, but if you have that, I mean, you should be totally fine. Yeah. M1 Max is not too bad. So there you go. Yeah. I don't think you need to worry about going out and getting a new computer just to be able to mess around with Houdini. You should be fine. Especially if you're just learning, you'll be great. You'll be totally fine. Interesting. What did I do here? I once knew this. I once knew how to do this. My brain. Wait a second. Is there... What is this? No, that's not it. I said something about particle to field, and I was like, huh? Interesting. No worries if I miss your... I'm not that busy. That's what I'm here for, is to chat. So, hey, no problems. Let's see. Let's see if there's anything else here that I'm missing that would... Yes, I was trying to bring it in using the volume source to bring it in. Yes, Futorian. Yes, that's what I was trying to do. But I should be doing this a different way. So Lisa, you're saying to an artist, they say, learn your anatomy, learn your perspective. To a Houdini rookie, what would you say? Learn your networks? No, attributes. Understand how attributes work in Houdini. That's like number one, is learning attributes. Because once you understand attributes and how they get passed around in geometry or in Houdini, that opens up a whole new thing. Attributes, big time. Yeah, and check out the foundations lessons on sideeffects.com. There's some really nice stuff there that can help you get started as well. All right. I'm going to say let's just give this let's just call that for what just happened here. Why do I have an error? Can't find SOP. Okay, weird. Yeah, so this actually, sorry. What is this? All right, let's see. I'm not sure. This might work, maybe. Oh, here's a question. Can the divergence field be used for this? I mean, I guess it could, but it's like a known field, so I think you could probably have other issues if you were trying to use that, I think. But why am I must be missing something really dumb here. I'm sure I'm missing something really simple. Senator George, could I advise whether it'd be advisable for a beginner to study Houdini now, or is it better to delve into the study of artificial intelligence? Yeah. So I just don't find artificial, like most of the generative AI stuff, very interesting. It's just so boring to me. I don't know. Like, do I think that artificial intelligence is going to completely take away all VFX jobs? No. Do I think it's going to take away the very entry level jobs? Probably some of them, because people don't want to actually pay people to do things. They'd rather pay nobody, or they'd rather pay, a company less money to do something. I don't know. It's just, yeah, people don't value other people's work, unfortunately. So if you're not passionate about doing, VFX or 3D, that type of stuff, yeah, don't get into it, because you got to be passionate. If you're not, then yeah, there's always a new thing that comes up that's like, oh, this is going to change everything, and this is going to do this, and blah blah blah. So it's like, I don't know. Anyways, I don't want to get into that. I've been having a good evening. I'm not going to talk about AI. Priests. I have a grid VOP with some turbulent noise to generate a mass. Use that mass to generate particles. I'd love to have particles that generate from that mask. Is there a way to do rotation procedurally? Yeah, I mean, you can do rotation if you're using different, like, sine and cosine. Like if you use those together, Priest, you should be able to you should be able to do that and get rotational stuff from it. I mean, it's going to be a little bit harder to control, but if you're trying to do something really unique per point, doing different sine and cosine off of those points based, like doing kind of custom solver stuff on particles, you probably could do that. So yeah, sine and cosine together make rotation, like circular rotation. So Lisa had a question. One last question. Where can we find information on when your next webinar is? Oh, I do these every Wednesday. So these are always, and there's lots of them on here, so you can come back and watch them anytime. But yeah, I do them weekly on Wednesdays. You want to learn some trigonometry? Well, I don't really teach trigonometry per se, but go do some like Khan Academy stuff or whatever. Those are free, and the teachers are great on there. So I'd highly recommend that. Yes, AI is for those who don't take any satisfaction from the process and only want the result. Yep. I usually, so I start these at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Put that into a website and it'll tell you the time locally. So I usually, whatever time it is now, I usually start 2 hours before this. So that's my normal time frame. All right. So let's just run this a little bit here. I'm going to turn this down a little bit more. Let's do it like that. Let's let this kind of do its thing. And I'm curious, let's see here. What did they set up for us here? Let's use the neural point surface here and see what happens. I think it can go from this compressed cache, and if it can, then I can just let that run in the background and see what we get here. What? Doesn't work on my system. That's weird. Oh, right. I'm doing this in the wrong order. That's right. So I want to bring it back to particles maybe, and then do the... Yeah, let's try that. We're compiling. This isn't as quick as I thought it would be. It's kind of a bummer. Oh, it's probably because I'm running it on my CPU and not on my GPU. And it's probably for the best that it's not running on my GPU right now. Well, that's a little bit of a bummer. Okay. Let's stop that for a second here. Let's just try this. See if we can plug it in here and we get a surface. Okay. Well, your mileage may vary with this because I feel like I've used this before and it worked a little bit better than that, but maybe maybe my computer's just can't handle it anymore. Can't kick it with the neural point surfacer with my GPU apparently. Yeah, interesting. Let's solve a little bit further here and see if we can't get some more interesting details. I'm curious what the details of that are. Maybe particle fluid surface set to neural mode. Oh, right. It does have that, doesn't it? But I think this is... Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I'll let this calculate. I'm just curious what the... I am going to look it up. Let's see. Yeah, that's interesting. Particle fluid surface. I guess I forgot that that had a neural point surface mode. Yep. I totally forgot that that was even there. And is this working now? Are you kidding me? What kind of joke is this? Maybe it's just because there was another one in the network. Maybe that's why. Okay, cool. Let's see. We'll give it a little bit more here. Yep, that totally worked. Thank you for that. Yeah, particle fluid surface. That I forgot that that was in there. I was thinking it was only in that one node. So thank you. Good call. Hi, Zach. How's it going? Did you miss anything? Just some particle simulation stuff, fluid simulation stuff. Yeah, doing some sticky fluids. We didn't actually get any viscosity, and I certainly didn't have a very good time of doing the field. I gotta realize, I gotta try to figure out what I was doing wrong there. But anyways, yeah, that part was definitely a bit of a fail, but yeah. Cool, there we go. Got our surfacing going, looking decent. Let's see what the average position there. Yeah, I think, man, that really does look like pretty nice. The neural point surface thing looks good. I think it's pretty nice. Cool. Yeah. Well, there we go. We've got that going. I hit save on that guy and just yeah, you can always play around with this if you'd like. Yeah, well, why don't we we're going to start winding things down there. Get the green screen that Leonard hit. Yeah, so I think that will be where we'll end this evening since we're at a couple hours here. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining. So had some new names in the chat, which is always fun. And yeah, next week, who knows what we'll get up to. If you're interested in adding some suggestions to the Discord server, please feel free to go in and add those in. And yeah, maybe it'll be something that I might have some thoughts on and that we give it a shot. So yeah, I always really appreciate the different suggestions and things like that. And if you're interested in getting, playing around with the, if you're interested in getting the HIP files and kind of screwing around with them on your own, those are all in the Discord server as well. There's a channel in there which has the Google Drive link that's just pinned there, so you can get that. So that's pretty much it for today. Hopefully all the rest of you have a great rest of your week. And yeah, we'll see you all next week. Thanks so much for joining, and talk to you guys later. Bye.